Thank you for joining me again. This will be a great day to continue what we started last time in Psalm 139. Now, I hope your day or your night is blessed. If you're struggling a little bit in any way, mentally, spiritually, physically, take a moment with me right now and let's be once again reminded that God is in control. We say that often, don't we? But sometimes our lives don't exhibit that. God's in control. We find ourselves awfully disappointed in ourselves, but God isn't. I say that in church a number of times because it took me a long time to get it. God is not disappointed in you. You are. You're disappointed in you. You're the one that wished you had done better. You are the one that regrets the sins and wish you could go back and undo them. You can't. You see, we're always looking at our mistakes and our past, wishing we had done better. You didn't know better. You see, when you're a sinner, you don't know better. You're just doing what sinners do. And now that you see the light, you can't wish that you could go back and change it. It took all of that to bring you where you are today. When you're in the 6th grade, you can't say, oh, I wish I had known this when I was in the 2nd grade, because it took grades to get you where you are. So today, as you contemplate your past, we all do. Boy, I do it too much, I think. I'm kind of sentimental, and I think about the past a lot and family history and family trees, and I just get really emotional about the past at times. In fact, I told Sandra the other day, I think I'm hooked to the past for some reason. And sometimes it's difficult for me to move on and look to the future. I get sentimental. But there's a problem with that in that I wish there were some things I had not done when I was younger. But I didn't know any better. Now that I know better, I abhor those things. When I did them, I enjoyed them. But now that the light has been turned on and my soul has been saved, I literally abhor those sins. It was David, and I don't remember which psalm he said it. He said, I abhor myself. I abhor myself. If you're one of those today, thinking about something you did and you think that's why you're in the condition you're in now, forget that. Let it go. I just read, God knows everything about you. He has searched you. He has known you. He understands you. He comprehends you. He's acquainted with all your ways. He said, there's not a word in my mouth or on my tongue, but Lord, you know it all together. Friend, God knows you much better than you know yourself. God knows everything you have done, and God also knows everything you're going to do. Aren't you glad that your salvation is not based on your sinlessness, because you're going to fail and fall again? God already knows you are, but He saved you. He made a covenant with you through His Son's blood. And I didn't plan to go exactly in this direction right now, but I'm going to say it again. There's no reason in the world why you should abhor yourself, look down on yourself, or beat yourself up. Things happen. We did it. But it took every bit of that to bring us to the place where we are right now. We understand better than we've ever understood. So instead of looking at you, look at God. Instead of bemoaning the fact that you were a failure and a rank sinner, glorify the fact that God knew you, knows you, and loves you, and is not disappointed in you. You're right on track. He started this process of making you like His Son Jesus. Remember, He's the potter, you're the clay. The clay can't regret the fact that it's mud. It has to joy in the fact that the potter needs mud to make a trophy. The potter needs all that you are, and he's working on all that you are to make for himself a testimony to the greatness and goodness of his Son's love. So once or whenever you start feeling a little bit low, quit looking down and start looking up. Quit looking at you and look at him. For there's not a word on my tongue, you know it. You have hedged me behind and before. Here's a great word right here. And laid your hand upon me. Do you recognize the infinite blessing of having God lay his hand on you? It's like a father would put his hand on the shoulder of his precious child, or a grandfather would put his hand on the head of a grandson or granddaughter. It's a sign of affection. It's a sign of nearness. And David is saying, you've laid your hand upon me. You know me. You know everything I've done. You know all that I am. And you've still laid your hand upon me. You've still laid your affectionate, loving, powerful, creative hand on my head. Brother, you're a blessed person today. You look in the mirror and see something God doesn't see. You can look in your own eyes when you look in the mirror, and you can go all the way back 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and then you look at you now. God's not looking that way. God has a plan. God is looking at the plans he designed for you and what he intends for you to be like one day. And so I say it over and over again. You look in the mirror and you are disappointed. God looks in the mirror of your soul and he sees what you're going to be. You look in the mirror and see age and deterioration, but God looks at you and sees eternal life and eternal glory. We'll get back to this next time. I love this psalm for that reason. It reminds us that he's big and we're not. And he knows it all and we don't know very much at all. And in spite of that, he loves us with an unchanging and everlasting love. You take that. Run with that today. Enjoy that today. And I'll see you next time.